I have a little quick update. Last year when I came up here, I was incredibly nervous, and I had told you guys that I spoke with my father, who gave me some encouragement, and I wanted to let you know that yesterday he turned the big 8-0. So I got to spend a long weekend with him. They live in St. George, Utah, and that's my great niece, his great granddaughter, celebrating him for his birthday. So he says hello, by the way. I want to let you know that I am delighted to be here with you today. When I was up here on June 25th, the official start of the holiday season, I told you that I'd probably come back in December and tell you a Christmas story. Well, here I am, and true to my word, I will share a story I wrote about a wonderful Christmas lesson I learned from my parents many years ago. Before I start, though, I have some business that needs tending to. Many of you have participated in my non-scientific unofficial polls the last couple of weeks. I'm here to report that more than half of you are naughty and should expect nothing from the jolly big guy this year. The naughtiness, I might add, goes all the way to the top. Shocking indeed. Additionally, I have my doubts about several of you who claimed you were nice. I will, however, be a gentleman and not mention any names. Ola BC. This time of year in our society, we gear up to celebrate what we collectively call the holidays. Christians celebrate Christmas, Jews celebrate Hanukkah, others amongst us celebrate Kwanzaa, and even a few celebrate Festivus. I find this, only the older ones in the crowd will get that reference. I find the stories and traditions of each of these holidays compelling and love components from all of them. Well, not Festivus that much. As I indicated in my last Mom in June, anyone who knows me even a little bit knows that I love Christmas. I love the stories, I love the music, I love the decorations, and of course I love the goodies. Mostly I love the goodwill that I feel within people that is often missing during the rest of the year. I have loved Christmas since I was a little boy, and not for the reasons that you might think. When I was in my last semester of college working on my teaching credential, my language arts methods course focused on writing. Our semester-long project was to write a book focused on one topic. This is my book. Remember the 2-tome volume that Dr. Fitzgerald had and Dr. Pollard's? This is all I had to write to get out of college. For whatever reason, when it came time to pick my topic, Christmas was on my mind. I wrote a descriptive piece, a compare and contrast piece, a step-by-step instruction piece, a poem, and even a letter to Santa from the adult Dan's perspective. I also wrote the following narrative piece, which is a true story from my childhood, from my life as a little boy in Long Beach, and illustrates why I love Christmas so much. One Monday night in December of 1973, Mom and Dad said they wanted to sit us down and talk to us about something very important. The four of us couldn't imagine what it might be. We had just moved into the big 2-story house about a year before. Mom had it all decorated up for the holiday. The big picture window in the living room was the perfect spot for our Christmas tree. I remember the tree was up already, a live one of course, its wonderful pine fragrance filling the whole house. The ornaments were beautiful, and the lights always made me smile. The manger scene was under the tree too, and there were already some presents. As we all gathered in the living room that evening, we wondered what was up. Russ was 12, I was 10, Becky was 8, and Gina was 6. We all sat on the floor around the tree, and Mom and Dad began to talk to us. I'm sure at some point we talked about the true meaning of Christmas, not the commercial side, but the Christian belief of the birth of the Son of God. I know my parents reminded us of how very blessed our lives were. We lived in a beautiful home. We had a mom who stayed home with us to take care of us, a dad who worked hard to provide for us, plenty of food in the pantry, nice clothes to wear, and more games and toys than any 4 children probably needed. As I look back on that evening now, I realize that my mom and dad were gearing up for a sales pitch, and that pitch finally came. They told us of a family from church who was probably not going to have a very nice Christmas that year. The father had lost his job and the mother did not work. The family was struggling just to feed themselves, and so Christmas was probably the furthest thing from the parents' minds. Mom and Dad wanted to know if we, the 4 cash kids, would be willing to give up one of our Christmas presents so that we could give something to this family instead. I don't think that any of us were opposed to the idea. In fact, I know we were all excited to do it. What made it more fun was that there were 4 kids in our adopted family, so each one of us got to pick one of the kids to buy a present for. And what was even more exciting is that we got to go shopping with Mom one-on-one to pick out the present for our kid. I remember that once we had purchased all the gifts, we got to wrap them up and get them ready for delivery. The tags, of course, said that they were from Santa. We got to be his elves that year, the first of many times. A couple of Mondays later, we were ready to secretly deliver our packages. We all piled into the VW bus and drove over to their neighborhood. Dad turned off the lights a few houses away. VW bus for real, people. It was blue. Dad turned off the lights a few houses away and parked so that our car could not be seen from their house. Mom and Dad had a really hard time shushing us all down, but finally they did. We crept quietly up the walk to their porch. We put all the stuff there. We had a present for each child, one for the mom and one for the dad, and my mom had thoughtfully purchased stocking stuffer stuff and food for the pantry. Needless to say, it was a lot of stuff. After we put it all there, we sneaked across the street behind some bushes, and Russ had been charged with ringing the doorbell and running away like crazy. I must admit he did an admirable job. A few moments after he knocked and ran, the father opened the door. He was not looking down, and he didn't see the loot on the porch. This is close to my heart. If I get emotional, you'll have to excuse me. I find no problem with being emotional when you're talking about something that's close to your heart. He actually looked a little annoyed, and maybe was wondering who would ring a bell and then run away. Then, almost magically, one of the little kids saw the loot on the porch and shouted presents. I do not think that words can adequately describe the joy that I felt in my heart at that time. Seeing the awe on that little child's face and the wonder and gratitude in the father's eyes are something that I've never forgotten. This happened 41 years ago, you guys, and I still get choked up by it, obviously. I have often felt joy since then, but never in my entire life has this experience been equaled. I remember our own Christmas morning that year. It was more than extra special. None of us missed our extra present. We actually talked about our family and wondered how their Christmas morning was going and how they liked their presents from Santa. I've since come to realize that my parents did not take away a present from us that year, but rather gave us a present that no money could buy. They gave us a glimpse of what it is like to give without expecting anything in return. For me, this gift has never stopped giving. They taught me the true meaning of Christmas, and for that I will always be grateful. You might be asking yourself, why did I tell you this story? What am I trying to motivate you to do? Simply this: be good to one another. Look out for those less fortunate than you. Whether or not you believe in the birth of the Son of God, or that a day's worth of oil kept the menorah lit in the temple for 8 days is irrelevant. Take a moment to reflect on the reasons we celebrate and appreciate the significance of these holidays. The second question in my non-scientific, unofficial poll was simply this: do you believe? No other explanation was given. I'm happy to report that almost 90% of you do, and for that makes me very happy. As I come to a close, my wish for you is that you will find peace and happiness in your life. Again, be good to others, to your coworkers, to your students especially, to your family, and be good to those who are less fortunate than you. May you all have a wonderful holiday season and a joyous and prosperous new year. To say the last line. My name is Dan Cash, and I serve students and you, my coworkers, as a record support specialist at Trident University. Thank you.